Hello, everyone. It's us. We are here. Dale and I are here for the celebration stream of the Dark
Yay!
Stories of the Macabre Volume 1, which is out now.
Yay!
I'm glad we got this done, honestly. I know we've been talking about various things, and you know, I mean, there's what we do in front of the camera, and then there's all the shenanigans behind the camera and planning and stuff. And this sort of came up as an idea, and I was not expecting us to move so quickly on it. But
yeah, we did, didn't we? Woo! Flew through it.
We really got things done, and that's just talking about. We talked about the concept, the idea, formatting, and everything else, and it just boom, just back and forth to each other, and just got it done. And really impressed, honestly. I'm really happy that you've got your first novel out there now.
Oh, absolutely, me too. Wow, you know, it's a dream come true, really, because you know, it's been really it's difficult for a writer to find a publisher that you can actually trust, if you know what I mean. So when this opportunity came up, it was just wow, that's just amazing. And you know, you've been such a good, amazing support for the last three or so years, you know. And
well, you've been a supporter of me as well, so it's, you know, I mean, it's
mutual. Yeah, that's mutual. It's a two-way street, isn't it, really? So yeah,
I mean, you've been massively involved in the channel and giving your stories and helping in narrative fiction, and then you became a co-host. You know, started off as an interview and started, you know, just popping back, and then you become a regular co-host, part of the team, and you have to listen to me babbling with some of the stuff that just pickles my head, but then with the whole everything, because without that you would be demented. You know, that's what we do. We lift each other up, and that's what you do with friends. You look after each other.
You do. Yeah, definitely. But
obviously, this conversation started. It's because obviously it's a project that's coming up. You're going to be doing Gorilla Metropolitana's biography.
Yes.
And people are acting like you're killing babies or something. It's weird. It's a filmmaker or somebody talking about their filmmaking journey and their life, and like there's loads of those books about, and people are acting like absolute dingbats. And some of the shit you've been taking has been unreal. I just like,
I know, all right, and I'm just writing a book about a subject. You know, the subject is gorilla. And that's it. Hello, Chris. I just purchased my car. Oh, thank you.
Thanks very much, Chris. Always. Here's the thing people don't understand as well. It's not just about buying and the money side of things. It's if the book gets a bump, and this is why we plug it, and this is why we do things. It's all about the algorithm. If so many people buy a book at once, it becomes popular, and then Amazon decide that it's a worthwhile book, and then they start showing it. If it doesn't, it gets buried. It's the same as these videos. If you don't watch and if you don't do the typey clicky things, then YouTube or Twitch goes, nah, would not show us to anybody. That's why you always hear us, you know, would you do, and that's why we're always plugging, that's why we're always talking about what we're doing, because you have to. And I don't know about you, this is antithesis to my personality, doing promotion and marketing and stuff. I hate it.
I know, but you just got to do it. I know. I've had this conversation with lots of people, and they're just like, no, it's too, I don't know, egotistical. And it's like, no, it's not actually. You know, you've got to promote your own stuff sometimes. You know, yeah. And so, it's really, really excellent that people are sharing all the stuff that, you know, as well, that you post or I post or whatever, and you know, people do come back with feedback, so that's good.
Yeah, that's
thank you.
Chat's falling up, great. Good to see people on board. But yeah, now you've got skin in the game, so to speak, because has a different gear switch in your head from you being a writer, obviously submitting to anthologies, various publications over the years, but now you've actually got this tangible thing that exists. It's actually there. It's in the world. It's not imaginary. It's actually,
No, it's
it's
actually,
there.
I know. Yeah. I still, it's still a shock, if you know what I mean. I'm still getting used to it because I've wanted it for so long, and I just got so bogged down with doing other anthologies and stuff like that. And it wasn't until you mentioned it that I even contemplated doing this. And it's like, well, I've got stories available, to that I want to share with the world, and to have it there is just like, oh my God, it's my book. Like, I wrote those things. I wrote those stories. It's really amazing, actually. And I really do hope people enjoy them. That's what counts to me, is that people enjoy them. I want people to think, to have a different perspective on me as a writer, an author, as opposed to, say, reviewing all the time. People just think I'm a reviewer, but they don't actually know that I actually write horror, because I haven't had a book, my own book. It's always been other people's books. So so this is amazing. It really is. It's still a shock.
Is there? I know I get it sometimes. Just this nagging feeling that if you're reviewing something, you need to step up the plate as well. There's no point just sitting back, and talk about other people creating if you're not prepared to do it yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's makes a big difference as well. Because obviously people are going to be reviewing my book now, so that's that's a different take on it. I actually didn't think about that until you mentioned it before, that actually people might review my book. And okay,
how are you going to feel about that?
Well, I've got a thick skin now. I've had to grow a thick skin, so I don't know. I guess, I don't know, really. If you like it, you do. If you don't, you don't. I don't know. So, some authors don't like other authors' work, not because they're jealous or anything. They just don't, I mean, like Stephen King, I find him quite jarring to read, things like that. So, people might not like my flavour, and other people might. So I'm not really concerned about it. But if a shit review comes back, I might sit back and go, but I'm not going to let it stop me from producing any more horrors, any more horror stories. It's not going to dishearten me at all. I don't think so. I've worked too long and too hard for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To just let a bad review crumble me, that would just be terrible.
When you're talking about a bad review, are you talking about somebody just going, "Yeah, it's crap, hate it"? Nah.
Yeah. Oh,
as
those
opposed to
crap.
Constructive criticism.
Yep,
which is completely different thing.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's the same thing on my channel, on my Facebook group. If somebody says, "Oh, that movie sucked crap" or whatever, and it's like, well, explain yourself, please. I want to know why you think that's a crap movie, and because some people just go on there and just go, "That's crap. That's a crap book. That's a crap story. That's crap," and it's just like, well, did you actually watch it? Did you get it? All that sort of stuff. So,
I think those sort of people, they never answer back.
They
when
don't.
You ask them, okay, what aspects did you not like about it? Radio silence.
Absolutely.
And you're like,
yeah,
okay. And you know me, I like discussion. I don't like debate. I don't like my side wins, I win. I hate that crap. Especially talking about art. Art is subjective.
It's subjective.
That's why there's so much of it, and there's so many different flavors and styles, and that. Because if it wasn't, there'd just be the one style. That'd be it. That's all.
Yes. Yes, that's right. That's right. No. Yeah. And what people might find a bit, I'm not too sure, but I write a lot in first person. I think the majority of the stories in there are in first person. So
there's two of them that aren't.
Two of them that aren't, the third person. So we'll just have to see how people feel about that as well, I guess. So that's it's just my favourite way of for horror. I think it's more direct, first person point of view. But hey, some people don't like it and some people do. So I think I heard you saying once that you don't like the third person point of view
No,
sometimes.
I don't like the first person. I'm not a massive fan of first person in fiction.
First person. Oh,
Yeah,
right. You see, I've heard that before as well.
I've read accounts. I've read, a lot of war books and stuff, and that's usually first person account. So I have trouble associating it with fiction because I associate that with like somebody, what was it?
Yeah.
Like Bravo 20 read that like when I was like 15. That's first person account, and Bab. Books like that are telling the story from their perspective.
Yes.
It's not fiction. It's it's a true life account. So I have a trouble bringing that across. One thing I do absolutely detest as a writing style is present tense. That's an American thing, and it's really jarring. I hate that.
Yeah, interesting.
He opens the door. He goes to. I'm like, what is this? Because a story's meant to be an account of an event, so it's usually done afterwards.
Yes.
And I just I just find that style absolutely horrible, and I don't like it.
Yeah. See, people are so different, aren't they? I mean, like
somebody could absolutely love that, and then that's their favorite thing, and that's what they want to read, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. That's the beauty with short stories, I think, and that is that you can play around with things. You can play around with first person point of views, present tense, past tense, all that sort of stuff's really important. So, I think people have their attention span's not very good. So, in today's society, people want gratification quite quickly and all that sort of stuff. So I think they get that with short stories, definitely. But I think in a short story anthology, there should definitely be different points of views, not second person. That's quite hard to do. But if you can pull that off, that's fine. But, just to have a bit of different, one story might be a first person point of view, then the next one might be a third person, omniscient or intimate or whatever. And, it changes around a bit. So I think that's what I like about anthologies the best is there's always a different, author and all that sort of stuff. So it's a bit different when it's your own anthology of horrors because I want it to hit, you know what I mean? I want people to like all of the stories, not just like, oh, that one was my favorite or, whatever. But I suppose people have a favorite.
I think that's the difference. So in an anthology is if there's one of the stories that doesn't land, it doesn't detract from the whole book.
Yes.
Where in a novel, you have to hit every beat. Because if you have a couple of bad chapters, you could take somebody right into your story and they'll not finish it.
Yep. Yes.
But one thing we looked at and we were having our back and forth was obviously a theme. Because what we didn't want to do was just have a whole bunch of stories just shoved in there, that'll do. It's a collection, it's a book, and I've seen that with anthologies alone.
Me too.
I've seen messy anthologies. It's really jarring. Like you go from a 4-page story to a 15-page. I'll use that one, Terror in the Deep. It's the worst. And it was also full of SJW stuff. And it was just horrendous. And I didn't even get a quarter way through it. I just gave up. It was so jarring. And the stories were not like they're supposed to be all about terrors of the sea. And it was all about social politics and crap like that. And the sea barely got mentioned in them. And like I said, you'd have a story. One of the stories was like 4 pages. Like flash fiction? No, not even flash fiction. It wasn't even clever as flash fiction. And you're like, what is this? And then you have another one's like 8, and then one might be 10. Then you back to one was like and you're just no consistent theme.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do that. And I say we because that's one thing. I'm glad that me. I like to collaborate. I wasn't just going to go dictate on how. This was a joint venture of getting out there, back and forward, and I put ideas to you. You said yes to some, no to others, and we finally got the theme down and everything else, so it looked a certain way, and even from picking the fonts and stuff. It might seem like silly stuff, but I believe
people don't think about. you know, so I mean, the way you chose the font, I mean, even that's something that people don't think about, you know. So I'm so glad that you know what you're doing, because I was just like, oh yeah, the font, of course, you know.
But it was just and like I said, it might seem like a small thing, but it's pages. It's how it reads in the book and how it fits in with the cover and
That's
the
right.
title. And you want to, if it was done like Arial 12, like it was a document manuscript, you know what I mean? It's not a book
Yep.
then, it's not a piece of art.
Yep. That's right.
What's the intentions? I wouldn't tell. Squirrel!
Squirrel.
Yeah, that is one
Maybe it's
problem
me.
today is people
Yep.
don't have an attention span. It's getting worse and worse. And God, I was watching a
But
video
it's true.
and the AI pumped out stuff that's just, absolute guff. People are happy with it. I watched the video about
Yep.
YouTube videos that are basically being automated now. People aren't even bothering to do this.
That's
And
right.
there's a reason, and the authors have got a bad rap because basically there's been plagiarism using Chat GPT and other tools and just pumping stuff out there, flooding the market, and using things like Kindle Unlimited, for example. So they've already paid their subscription, so they just flick through, even if it's crap, they still get paid, and they do that 1,000 times. It's that whole scabber, mentality.
Yeah. Yep.
I would like to say the advantage we have here, with Horrific Publishing and is the podcast. The fact is, people come on board. You get to meet the authors. We get to have the discussion. You know it's by real people and real people in the process. I've seen that with publishers as well. That not painting the broad, because obviously with the narrative fiction, I've got to know a lot of small press publishers, and I've actually published their authors' work, and as in the narrative fiction segment. So I've got to actually have the conversations. But a lot of them, you don't know who the person is. They won't go on podcast interviews. They just stay hidden. And it's very strange that somebody...
that comes to that self-promotion thing, I think, might be kicking in there. Like, you said before about self-promotion. And I guess people just get a bit nervy, when it's... I don't know.
Yeah, but that's...
They don't want to get out of their comfort zone, They want to write a book. That's all fair and dandy, but...
How can you be an artist and stay in your comfort zone? Especially in horror.
That's right. I know. Yeah.
The genre itself is about leaving your comfort zone. It's about finding the boundaries of your comfort zone.
The thing is trying to find people who are interested in horror enough to promote your work. You know what I mean? So, like, I've got this radio interview next weekend, at our local radio station, and
are you physically going into the studio?
I'm physically going in there, and they're miking me up and everything. So I'm really.
Is it going to be video like on their?
Yes, they're streaming it. Exactly. So it's gonna.
That is fantastic. That is.
It's fucking nerve-wracking, but I'll get there.
That was actually the catalyst, wasn't it? Let's get this done.
That's right. You were like, oh no, well, we want this. I want you to have this book before your interview. And I'm like, how the hell are we going to do that? Did it just mean bang, 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 bang? It was just like, you're phenomenal, Colin. Yep, choose an intro, do this, do this, do this. And it was like, oh, bloody hell, bang, 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 bang. There it is. And then you're like, send.
Well, that was the thing, because we did it before one of the streams. We actually went through it. Click, click, click. And that's when we were sitting going the stream going, things might be coming up, because we'd done all the review before we went live. And then we're having to sit and button our lips going, can't talk about this, not yet.
Can't say anything.
Can't say anything. Problems,
Yes.
I'm very reticent to announcing things until I'm sure it's ready.
Yes.
That's why I keep saying to people, there's stuff in the background. This is one of them.
Yep.
Until it's actually ready to go, because I don't want to be one of these people. Oh, this is happening, that's happening, then something. Life.
Yes. Something happens. Yeah.
Has a habit of getting in the way, so we didn't want that.
Sure does. Yeah, absolutely. What was I going to ask you? Oh God, it'll come to me anyway. Yeah, it'll come to me.
Yeah,
But
well, by the way,
yeah.
folks, we didn't
Oh,
borrow a script
so
or
I think,
notes for this. We're
yeah,
just like,
no,
we're spitballing it because.
improv, of course. That's what I wanted to say, because people are probably wondering why my debut book is not going to be the biography, because I know how I have been saying that was going to be my debut book. But what Colin and I decided was that, well, because basically you have to set yourself up, don't you? So I don't want to be known as a biographer. I wanted to be known as a horror writer. So that's why plans changed, and the biography's now a little
It's still
way.
going ahead. It's obviously there's stuff going on in the
Going.
background.
Yep. Yeah, but there's so much work to do on the biography that I can't just sit there and not do anything, so I have to keep writing as well as the biography. So when you said we'll do this one first, I was a bit like, oh dear, I've just gone and told everybody, the debut book's going to be my biography, but this makes perfect sense to set yourself up as the author you want to be. So, some people start off with children's stories and go straight into the horror genre, and it's like, wow, whiplash. Yeah. Whereas now I'm set up as my debut book's full of horror. So yeah, that was a great choice. So I really thank you for that, and how fast you got it done. Oh, it's just amazing.
No, well, thanks for trusting me, because that's a big thing as well. It's your
Well, you've
work.
always been a huge support. That's the thing. I can trust you. There's a lot of people I don't trust, and you're one of the people I trust 100%. So, and you took my babies and you put them in the book, and and they're all around about the 3,000 word mark, which is good, except for the last two. A little added surprise. Yeah.
I don't get too caught up in. Obviously, there's word count when you know how many stories you need for a volume, but
Yep.
I think this is different because it was about picking the right stories and the right themes for this collection. Because obviously, we've sifted through. You've quite a back catalogue of work, and that's where something we'll look at.
Yes.
Once we've done all the promo and stuff, and that the dust settle down, as we start looking at maybe the next collection, which will be there's other stories, and some might fit better in a different collection rather than this one. So that's what we kind of did, and had a chat about. But it was definitely the fact that you go on the radio interview. I was like, nah, you gotta have it. You gotta have your book out there, at least for yourself, if nothing else, to go, yes, I've done it. I've crossed that line. Because how many authors have we seen on groups and that just can't get over that line for whatever reason, or won't cross over the concept, the actual produce goods at the end of the day?
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to motivation as well, and how committed you are, because some people only write part-time, maybe an hour a week or something, and that's just not going to cut it. If if you really, really want to get your book out there, you've actually got to work quite hard to make sure, like you said, I mean, an anthology has to have a theme, otherwise it does look messy and it means nothing. So, so I guess the theme for this is more paranormal, supernatural horror, I guess, with some really horrific scenes in it, so.
You have a bit of a mixed bag, because it's not just paranormal, but you bring in serial killers as well. There's a bit of extraterrestrial, you have monsters as well, and almost the eldritch horror. There's a bit of that, but yeah, the main sort of theme is paranormal and the strange, I would say, would be the theme of this book. That's what we went for. Nothing really. I don't think anything deviated too much from that. There's no stories in there that go right out, don't take you out of the you don't feel like you're leaving the collection and getting into something else, or something that's been thrown in.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's important that you do have a theme. And like the one of the last stories, Extreme Quarantine, that sort of goes a little bit extreme.
Mm.
So that's like a little taste of maybe what the next one might be. I don't know. You know, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. It's just
No,
it's
but that's
bonkers. It really is. It's just like it's just freaking amazing. I mean, yeah. I mean,
no,
you know, you've published your own book. I mean, you've had your own books published, you know,
yeah,
and
and I can't describe the feeling because it's you have to be there
yeah,
to get it. It's the this was just an idea I thought in my head. The I'm holding something. It's a completely different. Oh, I've actually crossed that line, and
yeah,
even with because we all get self doubt. Don't want. There's no if buts or maybes
yes,
about it. We all have that little. Yeah, you're not good enough. Me. You haven't sold so many copies, and blah 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 blah. You're not. The
yeah,
algorithm isn't popping out. You're not in the top 10, and people aren't gushing over you. Worthless. But then again, you have to think back and go. I've done the thing. I've done
yes,
what people won't even try, or I'll go back to writing groups. That's why I don't
yes,
really join many of them. The amount of pretenders and um, Walter Mitty's fantasists, that I'm a
yeah,
writer and they've done nothing, and they'll hang around these groups, and you're like, why? Just if it's and they cause trouble. They always seem to be the ones causing trouble. That's like if you put a quarter of that energy into actually getting something over the line, you'd
yes.
surprise yourself. And if you
Mm,
do nothing with it, if it's the one and only time, I'll use the horrific tales narrated fiction segment.
yeah,
I've had people like just had a short story. That was it. And one and
and that's
done.
it.
They've never done anything else. Never wanted to do anything else. They've got that out of their system. They're happy.
Yeah, yeah,
I have no problem with that. They've taken that energy and went, okay, that's it. That's the thing. I'm glad I've done that.
yes, yes,
Don't need any more. It's not my passion. I'm doing other things. Blah blah blah.
yep,
Cool. I never ever slag anybody off. What I always say is you have to do something creative. It doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be your job. You don't have to make it into a career. There's a stupid notion of you can't do anything unless it's big bucks or why bother. It's not about that. It's
no,
using your imagination, using your skills, taking yourself out of the humdrum of you might have a well-paying day job
yep,
and it's boring as hell and it's sucking the
yes,
soul out of
right,
you. So you do something just completely off the cuff, creative, and even if it's just a hobby, you're using different parts of your brain and you're becoming a more well-rounded person.
that's right. That's right. And writing's not for everybody. Somebody might fall into it, you know, because somebody told them that was a really cool story, and I don't know, they just realize that there's actually a lot of work that goes into it that we do voluntarily. We don't get paid for. We do it because we love to do it, and I would say to people who can't get their A into G and can't find a publisher or whatever, just self publish. Just go down that angle, just to say you've got this book and it's there. You've got it. If you don't want to carry on doing any more books, that's fine. But don't just give up. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
or
sad.
short stories. If you've got a short story, there's magazines, there's podcasts, there's loads of ways to,
Eh,
even if you don't want to go down to putting a whole collection together. Like I said, people come on to this podcast with one story, and that's all they wanted to do.
yeah, and
They've
that's
submitted it to the,
great.
the tail segment, sir.
Yep,
It'll always be there as long as the servers hold the data.
yep, yep. That's
People can
right.
always find it. Cool.
Yep.
And you'll see because they don't have a social media presence, nothing. They've never shared social media details. They're just giving the story, man. Yeah, and I've asked them like, nah, it's okay. I
Yeah.
don't want to do it. Fair enough. Well, thank you. But it's there. They've done it. They've put it out there, and they've got that catharsis or that they've scratched that itch. It's done now.
Yep.
They can move on with their life. They're not feeling regretful, and that's can only be good for you mentally.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
It doesn't have to
Especially
be
if
writing.
no, know. You know, especially if you've got I don't know, you've always wanted to have a book, you know, a story published or something, and you finally get it published on something like Read C or whatever, or your narrated fictions. Yeah, it's just like, well, just do it and go for it. And if you, you know, if it works out for you, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Move on and do something else, you know, something else creative. You know, you might end up doing painting or music or something. Writing might not be the thing for you, you know, because there's a lot of work that goes on in the background that people don't know, you know, that you've got to promote yourself, which is the other thing people don't like to do.
I don't like to do it.
No.
I genuinely don't. I've held my hands up and said, I hate being, oh, look at me, I'm brilliant. I hate that.
Oh, well, I do it, and I don't feel, I don't know, I don't feel stink about it or anything like that. It's like, if I don't post it, no one's going to see it. So, but then again, I did things different. I built up a social network first before I did this book. Till you know, before this book was even published. I mean, you know, I've built up a social presence in the indie scene, so I've got quite a lot of support there. I just need more people to go and buy the book. Bloody hell! And get off your butts and go and buy it. You'll love it. But you know, and it's a two-way street. Like, you know, I just bought Phil Herman's book.
I've got that wish list for like a pair next week.
Yeah.
I've already clicked wish list. You know, I'm just waiting.
Yes. I was going to wait till next week, and I was like, no, damn it, I'm going to do it now because I really, really wanted to see Invasion of the Horse.
Carroll's book, you know.
Right. Yes.
You know, he's been a massive supporter of the channel as well in the background that people don't see.
But does he advertise himself? No.
He does. Actually, he's the one that's been helping me with the marketing. He does tons, but and obviously he does well for himself. He has a whole thing.
Okay.
Down the pat, he uses a lot of, you know, and the thing is, he's doing it well because he actually gets in touch with readers, and that's something I'm trying to avoid. The trap off is worrying about other. I don't need the accolades of other creators. It's actual people who are reading and enjoying the work.
Yeah. I get you.
Well, thanks, mate. Honestly.
Oh, thank you.
It's a great film. Honestly, it's that whole getting a concept and an idea and then it becoming tangible.
Yeah, I think it'll hit home when I've actually got the book in my hand. It'll be like, oh my god, you know, yeah. Yeah,
that was meant to have happened, but I think because you get a few books, it's they're messing about with the parcels and stuff. But
that's all good. I'm actually going to sign a copy and give it to the radio station to the DJ Jan. So that'll be a nice surprise for her. Not that she knows, but yeah, yeah, yes. So.
No, I still believe in physical books.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
absolutely
obviously digital versions, Kindle version that's available. Go look at other digital platforms. So we're not just stuck with one. You know, I want to give people options. But I still believe, and I wouldn't be doing this or getting into publishing if it wasn't for the creation of a physical book.
Yep.
To me, it would be pointless.
Well, the way I see it is, if the internet goes down, you've got no book. You know, a book's not there; it's all digital, so it would mean nothing. So, at the end of the day, I think physical copies, and nothing beats the feeling of flicking through pages. You know, I think some people think that's gross and all that sort of stuff, but actually, it's not. I love it. So, I've never done Kindle. Because I know it's a really good platform to use for books and stuff, but I just can't read off a screen.
I have not charged that up in about a year.
Wow.
Because, I don't like it.
No. And also, from a screen, it's different.
I have one of the Kindle Fires. You know, the biggest as a tablet. And
Yes.
so they don't have what to do with the Kindle is the screen lights from the back as if it's a page rather than the glare of a phone. If it was charged, I would hold the two of them up and show you like the phone screen and that.
Yep.
Either actually no, because that's like a tablet. I don't Kindle.
Yeah, I've seen it on my sister's. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I got it was traveling a lot, and it was just handy to have a book rather than having 3 books in my bag.
That's why people got them in the first place. You could have 1,000 stories on there instead of 1,000 books. You know what I mean? Carrying around bags full of books and stuff like that. It is handy. It is, but for myself, I prefer paperback.
Also, it's a pain in the arse. See, I find editing the Kindle version harder.
Yeah.
Just a nuisance because it doesn't. You have to like be off on the document that you upload, so it never looks straight. And sure, you saw it how different it looks when we were going through the sort of background before publishing. It's like, and I was trying to get away from that sanitized look as well. And it's really hard when you're using images and fonts that it doesn't like it. It just wants generic block text. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
If I'm going to do it digitally, I want the same experience. The same with Horrific Tales, I want people to have the same experience as the book. Yeah, it's going to be digital, but at least I want the things to look the same. I don't want one to look as if it's a memo.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, another customer. Kerching.
Oh,
thanks, Blake.
I hope you enjoy it.
Don't forget as well, guys, leaving reviews is a big thing. There's people won't even. I've got there's promotional sites and all you can use, and they won't even look at your book unless it's got minimum 10 reviews and 3.5 stars and all that kind of stuff. That's how dogmatic they are about it.
Yeah,
and it's a massive thing. If you do enjoy the book, leave a review, but also don't be afraid. That doesn't mean I want shills. I'm sure they'll say the same thing. Shills are no good because you can spot fakery a mile away. If you ever look at those dodgy ads and you see the person comments, I ordered mine, blah, 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 and it was fun. And it's just corporate speak of somebody typing in social media. Like, that's not somebody typing normally. That's a bot or somebody paid.
Yes, you can tell.
Yeah. So constructive review, and it doesn't have to be like Wordsworth. It's just I really enjoyed this book. Cool stories. These were my favorite. Wasn't too fussed in this one. Blah blah blah. That's
that's what I want to know as well. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, all feedback is welcome. Yeah, 100%. Especially if you see a story in there that you think, oh, this would have been better maybe in third person sort of thing, or maybe you've got too many first person. It's good to know that sort of stuff. Because authors, I'll talk about myself. I get stuck in like routine or rigorous writing, as in like I do it a certain way and that's what I do, but that doesn't mean that the reader's going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So it might look good to me and sound good to me, but it might not be for the reader. The reader might be like, oh, like you said, first person might be a bit jarring for people as well. So yeah, constructive criticism is always welcome. Everybody, I do it for other people's books as well, when I review their stuff. And if it's like, oh, I would have liked to have known blah, blah, blah's name or something that might have gelled the book a bit more. Stuff like that's really good. And it's constructive criticism. I know when it's going to be a trash, comment. And I know the difference between a trashy comment and somebody who's trying to be helpful. So
there's only one of your stories I couldn't figure out the character's name.
That would have been search. No, that wouldn't have been.
No, I can't remember now because when I was doing the promotional little things, you notice that when I do that, it's like I mentioned the person's name. There's only one I couldn't, and I'm like, what the hell's this person's name? And because I was trying to get it all done, and I didn't want to like stop and ask, and because it didn't matter, I just changed the little tagline thing about
the tag thing. Yeah. See, there's stuff like that. Exactly. I don't know, and it's funny that you say that because I've read short stories that I've had to review before, and I'm like, there's no name for the main character, and I'm like, did you have a name for that person? And they're like, oh no, I didn't. And I'm like, well, you could have said it in dialogue, like, hey Mel, how's it going?
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And it's like little things like that people forget. We just forget, and what I found really hilarious was going through Google Docs with you. Was Google Docs does not like first person point of view. It was turning all my first person into third person, like it was going into past, so it wouldn't let me do I'm driving up the driveway. It was like I drove up the driveway, and it's like, no, that's not no. So I had to go through and change everything. It was like, oh my God. Google.
Yeah, it's very dogmatic. That's why I don't.
Yes.
I don't want to. If it's not important, I play about it with AI, but I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
I still believe in you have to be there, and things like words just as bad. Microsoft, they're very dictatorial about. And it's an American, and they use American style to try to impose American English.
Try to,
as I call it.
Yep.
On the and you're like, no, we've got two people here, right? Back and forth, closer. I would say New Zealand and UK are similar, dialect wise.
Yes, totally.
So I can pick up things, but also I don't want generic. If you're going to write, I want you to write as a New Zealand author.
Yes,
and I want you to bring the flavor of where you're from. That's your voice. That should not be sanitized or stunted or changed. I hate that. I hate it when people do it with me.
Yeah.
Why aren't you? Especially in doing videos and stuff. When I use, I don't use slang, but there are localisms and stuff and phrases. And people are like, oh, it's not what we say. It's like, yeah, obviously we're different. But is that not the fun of meeting people who are different and picking up on those things?
Yeah.
And hearing how somebody else speaks or describes things.
Yes.
I think when we were doing the paranormal reviews, that really came out, and it's fun. Good. Never heard it called that before. Never heard that phrase. But
yes.
That's cool. I don't see it as a negative.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, so a couple of the stories I have no setting for, but most of them are New Zealand stories, based in New Zealand. I've tried to make it as much as possible that's the case. So, yeah, some people might not like New Zealand flavour of writing as well because, I don't know, it's not Americanized. I'm not using American cities. I'm not using anything like that. Even the Wendigo story, I mean, that's in New Zealand, even though we don't have Wendigos over here. You know what I mean? So, it might not have been a Wendigo. It could have been something completely different. So, that's what I like is the ambiguity of it, I guess, is that, you can make your own, interpret it the way you want to interpret it yourself, so...
Once again, it's back to breaking out of comfort zones. I think people are more reticent today. It's strange. You have access. Maybe it is overload of information. Maybe it is the idea of there's just too much, so everyone retreats into a bubble. Where I think, we grew up in the 20th century into the 21st, and there's always looking for more knowledge because you're restricted by your locale.
Yes.
So what you could get. Until the internet came along.
That's right.
But I think the difference between us and maybe the younger generation is we adapted, we grew up with that, and we already, I think most of us, I was in the teens.
Yeah.
So pretty much your personality's formed. You're, still not mature, but you're still got pretty much, you're 75% the way there. I think by the time you're 14, 15.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You know sort of who you are. You're getting through all the bugs and stuff. So we sort of grew up with the internet, and then obviously social media didn't really come in. I think about your 20s or something. So we're already adults. It didn't hit us. Social media is obviously a different era because
Yes.
I regard the internet as MySpace, AOL, the chat rooms,
Yes.
MSN chat, and all that kind of stuff, from Wild West of the internet. Social media was actually Bebo even before Facebook.
Yes.
Do you remember
Oh,
Bebo?
Bebo. Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole plethora, and then it just became Facebook and
Yes.
then Twitter and you got these other ones
Yep.
now. But the social media age is different. But we're already been through the internet, we've already been through the hurdles and just accept it and can sort of step back.
Yes.
So we can regulate, I think. I suppose that's the point I'm trying to get to. We can regulate the amount of information. We can turn the tap off and step back from it. Younger people can't because they know nothing else.
The digi-babies. Digi-babies. Yep.
And that's...
born with iPads in their hands. Yeah.
I just worry, like I said, they just need their comfort zone because that's the only thing, just familiarity. There's too much out there and they realise that and they can't deal with it. It affects what they consume as well because they just want simple nonsense content.
Yeah.
But they're not exercising their imaginations. They're not even writing now because they're using tools, which might seem okay in the short term, but you're not. You got to go through the pain. You got to go through the growth, or else you're going to be really, really disappointed because eventually the bots will write new bots to target the first bots, and then that all disappears. And if you haven't grown as a person, that's what you're relying on, or using tools, then you're stuffed. And also, if you don't stretch yourself, if you don't watch something or read something or experience something you might not necessarily like, but at least experience it. How do you know what you like or what you don't like?
If you don't try, you don't. You've got no idea because you just sit there doing the same thing over and over and over again and coming up with the same result every day, And I don't know, people have to take risks because everyone's just so wrapped up in cotton wool, just take risks. And if your feelings get hurt, well, you can get over it. You'll get over it in a day or two, but you just got to get out of your comfort zone and trust people, I suppose. Trust the right people is the thing. And like you said, stretch yourself, stretch your imagination. And I keep pushing with people. You've got to read. If you want to write, you've got to read. Because then you know what formats and you know what you'll like and what doesn't sound right and all that sort of stuff. You've got to read other people's work, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always been a voracious reader. Not so much now, just because of time.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'd never read, I would never be able to do this.
Yeah.
If I hadn't read a ton of books, like scary amount of books, over the years, different, not just horror as well. My go-to was fantasy. I love fantasy books.
Right. Yep.
Sci-fi I could take or leave because sci-fi books to me are more about the technicality and things.
Yeah.
It's all about the technology of the future and
like Dune. Oh gosh.
That's actually funny enough. I went on Buddy's channel a while ago to review Dune Messiah, the third book, or the second appendices on the Dune's essentially two parts, but the Dune Messiah is, I guess, the old one before Children of Dune.
Yeah, that's right.
And I hadn't read it since I was 19 or something, and go back a second time and whoa, oh dear.
Yeah. Oh dear.
This guy was on the magic mushrooms. Or something.
Yep. Oh, what does that look like? Oh, that's a weird looking thing. Yeah.
You have to experience it. And then reading something as an adult as opposed to a young person is a completely different experience as well.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I don't just read horror. I mean, I love thrillers. That's why I love Steve's work, because I love detective stories and you know, who's going to end up being the killer at the end, or you know, all that sort of stuff. I love that. I love biographies.
Well, Steve cheats. He tells you who the killer is at the start of the book.
Yes, motherfucker.
But he does it a different way. He tells you who the killer is, and then the whole thing is, do the police catch the killer? That's not always. That's not right. Always clear on how to go about it.
Yes. So that's why I eat his ones up. I mean, I read love stories. I read what's her name? Oh, well, Wuthering Heights is my favorite all-time book. You know, so Jane Austen. Yeah, so I'm thinking Emily Bronte, but it's not. Jane Austen. So you know, there's just, I don't know. Just read non-fiction, fiction, anything you can get your hands on if you're a reader. Yeah, if you're a reader, you can be a writer.
Yeah, but basically. it's like you wouldn't be a film producer if you'd never watched the film.
That's right.
Like you can't be one unless you're a film fan.
Yeah.
We're seeing that, but we're seeing this today. Non-film fans, people that don't give a toss, creating stuff, and it's utter sludge, and then it's just putting people off, and people are disgusted.
I know, right?
But it's funny as well, because if something says, for example, New York Times bestseller, I know you put three of those authors together and you read exactly the same, because it's the same editors.
Yep.
You know, the big publishing houses.
Yep.
Yet, that's people's comfort zone.
Yes.
Are you now an author with skin in the game, with a book that you want out there? Are you going to be looking at this differently? Does it change your perspective of how the publishing houses are and the attitude towards indie authors, and looking at how maybe some of the criticisms are justified, or pushing them back against the ones that aren't? Or have you thought about this at all? Now that you have skin in the game, which is a completely different thing from an outside observer.
I hadn't actually thought about it, but now that you're saying that, I am. There are things that so there's things I can't put my book into to get awards because I'm not with a particular group, which would have actually been really good for me. I'd rather have a Bram Stoker Award than a New York bestseller, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to give in to the rigidity of their policies and all that sort of stuff. And I know my book might not make the notable reading list because I'm not with that group. So there are things like that are going to affect me, I guess. Well, it could affect the book, but then again, I'm on the indie path, so I've got to stay on the indie path, if you know what I mean, because I don't want to go for a big publisher. I don't want my book to be, this is the. I don't want to be put on a bandwagon where I'm a Māori New Zealand horror writer.
Tick those boxes, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't want to have ticked boxes. I just want to be known as an independent author. And I've chosen you to be my publisher. You chose me as your whatever. What would you call it?
Well, you're the first author that HORRORific Publishing has taken on.
That's right. Yes,
and it wasn't because the first two publications. By the way, so Mistress of Darkness next week for HORRORific Tales Volume 3. If you haven't seen the email, get on the email list because it goes out and keeps people up to date. But
yay!
There's a difference between the anthologies. The anthologies could be impersonal. You put this about people send the story in, you say, thank you very much, hand over the money, blah, 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 see you again. I don't want that with HORRORific Publishing.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm trying to do is I don't want to click. Yes, and I'm very open about I don't like lots and lots of people. I'm very cautious about who I interact with. And if you go on too strong at the start, that I'm because I've been burnt in the past. I know there's bad faith actors out there. So I'm aware of that. You know what I mean? I'm a grown adult, 2 marriages under the belt. I've lived life.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Have.
It's not like I'm a shrinking violet, so I know what sort of people out there. I'm comfortable with smaller group, but there's always room for new people.
Yes.
I don't expect a hive mind, because if you look at even our group, our reviewer group, we're all different people. Couldn't be more different if you tried. If you look at the authors that come on, and that's the thing that I want to make sure is that people see the authors. So if you're not prepared to do that, don't get involved with the horror publishing, because the podcast is almost implied as part of the deal that you're going to be on.
That's right.
Because that's the difference between just being a name and actually tangible. You could go on, you talk, we hear, and I don't think I've ever tried to box somebody in the corner, make them uncomfortable. I hope I never have anyway.
No.
I just want a conversation. I just want people to get to know them.
Yes. No. I've watched your chats with authors, and you really know how to bring them out of their shell. It might take a little 15 minutes or something for them to open up, but you crack them and they just go for it, you know. And then I get messages from them going, "Oh my God, that was so much fun. When am I going to come on your podcast?" And it's like, no, I'm going to sort my streaming out first. But, you know, people love going on your channel, and it shows. You know?
No, I appreciate that. And that's the thing. It's about putting it, and that's what I want to, this is where I want to change the game up. And not just be another name out there. There's actually, you get to meet the authors, you take part. And you being the first author, it's not just a 5 minute, you've jumped on, you know, you're actually being involved. People get to know you. You're a known quantity.
Wow.
And people have seen us agree, they've seen us disagree, they've seen us take the piss out of each other, they've seen us laugh together, get upset together about, you know, things that we watched. You know, that's, you can't manufacture that.
You can't. No. And we are in a golden age where you can actually meet your favorite celebrities, or you can go and meet your authors that, you know, I mean, podcasts are amazing. You know, you actually get to physically talk to people that, you know, you necessarily wouldn't. And like in the old days, there was none of this going on, you know. There's an author, and you never get to, the only way you get to see them is their little photo on the cover or in the back flap of their book. You never get to meet them. You never get to ask them questions. You never get to ask them why they wrote that story or whatever sort of thing, you know. Whereas now, look, I mean, you know,
that's something I try to steer away from as well. Is I don't want to just be, okay, what's your motivation for blah, 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 blah. That's not, you know, people can get that from the work.
Exactly.
But if you get to know someone by just shooting the shit, you know what I mean? That's it. And obviously we've been doing this for years, so this is not hard. You know what I mean? This is just us bouncing on as normal.
Yeah.
But just that being able to converse, that's a game changer, I think. I think that's... It makes the thing personable, and that's what I want to bring out. And if other authors, and there are conversations going in the background, like I said, I'm not talking until things go out, but that's something I expect from authors who want to come on here. It's, you don't just pop up and it's a name and a book. You have to be involved. It's even with I'm even putting that now into the anthologies, because the last celebration there's obviously had a few people that said, "Oh, we might or may not be able to make it," but they've been on before, so we know them. But there's a couple that just didn't turn up, didn't say a word. And that's me going, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not on.
No, that's not on.
So that's something I'll be stipulating is, you know, because that's what I'm trying to build here. I want readers to get to know who's behind the pages. I don't want it to be just another picture, another title. Blah. There's tons of that out there. This is where if you want something extra,
that's right.
If you want to actually get to know the creators, if you want to know what, like, I think of the easiest ways movie reviews, honestly, it's non-committal. You know what I mean? It's not a heavy topic. If somebody likes a movie, they like it. If they don't. It's just a good way to get somebody to talk. Oh, I really enjoy this, and then you can bring a bit into So here's that person's influences, rather than just going, what are your 10 influences? Tell me,
Yes.
I just find that a useful tool. So I'll always want to invite an author on to do a movie review, because it's just a good way to not be interrogating somebody, but just to find out what they think, about
Exactly.
particular art and style. And then that can translate into their work, as in, okay, somebody doesn't like slashers, for example.
Yep.
So what are their books going to be? Probably more
Yep.
psychological, maybe supernatural.
Yep, that's
If
right.
somebody doesn't like supernatural horror, or they don't like monsters, then they're probably going to be thrillers. There's going to be a human monster. That's.
Yep.
But the way you get to find that out is talking to the person giving
That's
their
right.
opinions on art. And at the end of the day, that's what we're interested in. It's okay. What is this? What is this person creating? Am I going to enjoy it? And I think
Yes.
you can get that. I hope the way I'm
Yes.
doing it's correct.
It is.
That
Oh, it is. Honestly,
it's
you're
drawing
building an
people out to give
empire.
their opinions, but it's not very interrogational, or it's not political. It's not clickbait. It's not gotcha moments. It's not putting somebody in a corner. It's just letting people know what sort of stories. And I think, like for me, I love monsters. I love
Yes, you do.
supernatural beings. And that always has that bent in my stories. I love it.
Yep. Yep.
I've
Yep.
always been fascinated by the circus and
Yeah.
sideshows and freak shows. That's a
Which is
massive.
why you wrote your story. You wrote your book.
That's
That's
what
right.
the first two books, obviously, An Interview with the Ringmaster and Tales of Horror Madness,
Yep.
is all circus themed, because I love that stuff. I've
Yep.
always you put a carny somewhere in a story, and then I hate it when I have to leave the carny and go somewhere else. I'm like, no, just stay in the carny. It's fun.
Oh,
That's
funny.
that's my passion.
Wow.
I could write probably about 10 volumes of it, but people would be sick of it. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So it had to be my first two. You love the
Wow.
part. You know what I mean? You're not just you're actively involved with paranormal investigations. It's not just a horror trope. You're actively involved with groups and visiting places and the equipment, like the research you put in the equipment, etc. I know we've talked about this
Yes.
before, but you don't do the detail, even in short stories, that you do without being passionate about the topic.
Yeah, that's the other thing, isn't it? Is being passionate about that sort of stuff. What's that? You
Behave
couldn't
yourself,
find a more
Chris.
diverse group than the contributors on this channel. A lot of intelligent, interesting people, and then there's me also. Yes, you're still wearing a dong on your head. I noticed. You need to fix it.
No.
Ding dong.
No, I think that needs to stay. I think it needs to get more dong like. I think it needs to actually get little bits of tinfoil and just it goes from a tinfoil hat into a tinfoil dong.
Great. He's listening. He's going to do that now. Oh, God, blimey. But
see
yeah,
how far
no,
we
you're.
can push it for the YouTube algorithm to go.
Yeah, we have to be careful with our words, don't we? But yeah, no, you're right. The whatever you're writing, you have to be passionate about. And I can't write supernatural horrors and stuff like that unless I actually know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So the research I've done isn't just me going, what does a EMF device do? What is an SLS? It's actually me being proactive and actually going and watching these things and learning. Watch it, I love human psychology. I love human behavior. I love to see how people react to certain situations when they're scared, or what would they do if a hand grabbed them by the leg or something when they're walking past a bed or something. It's things like that I really love. So I watch paranormal investigations like every day. I'll watch one. I'll watch at least one. And, you know, that's not me just researching, that's me enjoying it as well. And it's why I've got a lot of supernatural aspects in my stories, is because I love it. And I've, you know, it's not just horror I love, it's all of the genres in horror that I love. You know, there's no specific one I'm more prone to. It's just this collection. I just thought, well, my passion is the paranormal, so I will put a lot of supernatural weird stuff going on in there. And yeah, well, I'm thinking, well, you know, that's why I didn't say horror stories. That's why I've put stories of the macabre, because they are macabre, not so much. There might be some horror ones in there, you know what I mean? But yeah, so
obviously we're not doing spoilers, folks, so get out there and buy it.
Yeah, you have to buy the book. Yeah, you won't be disappointed. No.
There'll be little teasers appearing on a daily basis. Keep up with the channel, because they start from tomorrow.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
That's great. Oh my goodness.
A daily teaser about, you know, if you're on the community posts or on the channel, you've seen what I've done so far.
I love it. I love what you've done.
So
yes.
That's going to carry on. They're all done. They're scheduled.
And they're great, because I read them and I'm like, I know that story. Sometimes I forget what story it is and I have to go and have a look, but it's like, oh, I know that one. Oh, yes, that's Arthur L. And yeah. It's just like,
that's actually an interesting question. Do you find that once a story's out of your head and on the book, it this kind of almost disappears and you have to go back?
It's gone. Yeah. It's finally gone. How do you find it?
Yeah, I'm the same thing. You could probably, you could ask me, okay, what's your character? And that's what I'm worried about if I ever meet a super fan or a nerd, you know, who'd be like, oh, in chapter 2, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I remember getting pissed off at night or blah, 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 and I couldn't get through it. Yeah, I'm on such and such. Who? Oh, yes, right. Oh, yes, because once it's out, and I don't sit and read over my, you know, oh, look at that. You know, it's
no!
Done.
Yes, I know.
The next story, the one at the moment, I'm currently rattling about up here and trying to get on. You know, and that's the story in my head right now. The ones that are there on paper and away, it's such a release.
It's because it takes up so much energy in your mind, you know, creating. Because when you're writing a story, right, you don't leave it there. It's like, if I go outside and have a vape or a coffee or whatever, it's still in my head, and it'll be there until I hit the submission button and I send it, you know, and then it's like, okay, I've revised it 10 times. That's enough. That's just stop. You need to send it. And then when it's gone, it's like, oh my God, okay, on to the next story. You know what I mean? It's just, it's
you were doing that. There's one of, I'll not say which one, but one of those stories, I think it was about 4 times. It came, you were just not happy with it.
No.
I'm like, all right, I got everything all lined up.
I know.
Then I come back, I'm like, all right, okay. And Google Docs are fine for doing that, but it's horrible for, never use it as a formatting tool. It's shit. That's not what it's designed for. It's just designed for like
sharing.
Work documents, but not for art. You know, you have to bring it off and then get it back, and then the next week, and then everything will all change. I'm like, right.
Yeah. I know, because I'm not used to this. So, because you know, this back and forth, I've only had to do this with Lee Murray when we did Remains to be Told. But all the other anthologies that I've been part of with Wicked Shadow Press, there was none of this. So it's just you send your story in and you get a great, you've been accepted, and that's it, it's accepted. But so the process of even the Google Docs thing, fortunately, I knew how to use it because of my creative writing courses. I had to do that online. So I know how to use it. But if I didn't know how to use it, I'd be going, oh my God, how the hell do you do this? And so I went and deleted all, like the first story you did, I deleted it and put the new version on without thinking, oh shit, hold on a minute, that's going to stuff up your formatting. But then it's like, oh, you'll work it out. You'll work it out. I know you can work it out. So that's what I had to do. I'd
rather the time gets spent then. You know, that's the whole point of that process. It's a spend
That's
the
right.
time back and forth, get it right, get at that point. But I don't know if I'm not worried about the right way, as in this is the laid down law, and there's more people trying to do that. You can only be part of
Yeah.
our group if you do things this way. What I'm trying to do is I've always been a collaborator.
Yes.
And it's not my book. I'm just the publisher. I'm just the tool that does all the boring stuff in the background in this case. But we'll have to work on it together. Now,
Absolutely.
I know, like with a big house, the author just sends it, the editors do it, blah, blah, blah. That's not the relationship I want to have.
No.
I want this to be personal, and that's why I'm not interested in taking on 20 or 30 or 40 authors.
Yep.
Or having hundreds of just randos turn up. It's...
Yes.
I don't want to sound exclusionary, but I am. You know what I mean? You have to be a good writer. You have to be a horror fan.
Yep.
There's always room for new people, and anyone that's got involved knows that. But and not just for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Just to wheel in. That's not what this is trying to build here. We're trying to build something different. And yeah, it's a conversation. Like, this is a big thing. It's more personal than just submitting a story to an anthology. That's either yes or no. And it's out of your head. But this is your collection. This is your name.
Yeah.
The way I see it, if I just didn't give a shit or stuffed it up, that's me doing you a disservice or doing dirty on you.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to do that.
Yeah. No, no.
You need to be involved with the process.
Yep.
But at some point, it's like, okay, right, we're ready to go.
Yep.
When everything else is built in. Right, that's it. Enough edits. Happy. It looks good. That's it. Let's go. And just make that decision. I think that's maybe when the difference between having a publisher and being on your own is you can live inside your own head. You can edit and never think it's good enough for something. Like, so many people get stopped taking that next step, and that's probably part of it. At least having the publisher or somebody else that's part of the decision making, at least that's okay, right, we need to move forward with this. There's a time scale. Like, we have your interview next week. That was the deadline to have this out in the zeitgeist for that, because to me it just felt right that you had to have your work out there.
Yeah, it did, but I didn't think it was going to happen so fast. I was just like, I mean, 1 minute we're talking about August, and then next minute it's like, oh no, we can actually do this before your interview, and I'm like, really? No. Yeah.
Well, it's not good time, because obviously, I left it a bit longer for Volume 3 to come out. I give it a bit of extra time because I had a lot of submissions last minute, so I thought I'd give people a bit of extra time. Plus, I've other stuff going on, and I set the time aside. So it just happened that I had the time set aside to work on it, and because I'm familiar, you've shared stories with me before, now, and looked at your collection, and was able to pull the 10 out.
Yes.
It was just easier to put it together because it wasn't like I was reading them all for the first time. Or I'm not familiar with work. So I was able to take the 10 stories that, okay, they were narrowed down, okay, these 10, okay, and then we got the next step. And it's smooth. Plus we were communicating. So it wasn't like I was messaging you and then 3 days later you were getting back.
Yes.
Or vice versa. We were able to actually do it. And then because of tools like this, we could just sit, we could pop a screen up and talk through it, which is amazing. It's
exactly.
That's a game changer as well. It's one thing.
It is. And I think that's why people are publishing more, because you can actually do things different now instead of having to wait 6 months for a publisher to get back to you and things like that, just to say no, rejected, and then you have to wait another 6 months because you can only submit to one thing at a time, and then they've got a hold over you for 6 months. So you can't share that story with anyone because it's sitting in their inbox, and it's like, man, guys, you can't do that to people, that's just criminal. You can't say you can't submit that story until we've said go ahead, and it's just like, so that's a lot of things that people don't realize when it comes to anthologies as well, is the release of it from someone else if you've sent it to someone else for something. And yeah, it can just get really messy, eh?
Yeah, that's one thing. When I jumped into this, I wanted to be part of the solution, not the problem. I know I've said that before. So this one was a bit longer. I think in future it won't be as long. I think it's just a bit too long, the time for Volume 3. But because we're planning,
I think so
like
too.
I said, there's a couple of fires in the air, and I wasn't too sure if something was going to, like your anthology, I wasn't too sure it was going to pop out at the same time. And I didn't want to muddy the waters.
Yes.
So I was kind of thinking that at the same time, but I didn't want to. I mean, something else has got the lead that I'm working on. I thought that was going to come out first. It's not, because it's taking time to get put together.
Yep.
So that's why I extended, because I thought that might have come out first as well. But that's juggling and spinning the plates.
Yeah.
Keep the thing going. But once the deadline passes next week, people will know within that week. Boom.
Yes.
Yes or no.
Yes.
Job done. Like I've already proved, thankfully, with 2 submissions, 2 anthologies out now. People know how I work. So, and it's all transparent out here. People can jump in the chat and question why we're doing these streams and how's it for you and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Rather than just a social media post.
Yeah.
You know, would ask the questions, you can actually speak to people live and get an in-person answer.
Exactly. That's why this podcast is so brilliant, because not only do we have you to bring us on and introduce us to everybody, you know, you're publishing our stories, you're publishing our books as well. So you're like part of the family, if you know what I mean. You're not just somebody I don't know who said, oh, I'll publish your book for you. And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know you. I don't trust you. Are you going to come back later and go, by the way, that's going to cost you $5,000 what I just did? There's people out there. There's some really bad ones.
All the stories. Like I've interviewed umpteen authors over the years, and
it's bad, eh?
I built this out picture. It's funny how people are reticent to talk about it. I think they're always afraid of the mob, aren't they? They're always afraid of the social media mob, and usually the people that act like that have the social media mob at hand and just call, oh, you're a blah, blah, blah attack. And people are just don't even know. They just want somebody to attack because that's their personality.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'm a bit red at the moment, so that's a colour, yeah.
You are shocking.
If it wasn't so warm, I would get the coat with the, what do you call it, the fur and that.
Oh my God.
I'll have to do that. I'll have to do the publishing Pimp Daddy.
Yes.
Pure 70s style, yeah.
Glasses and
actually,
big gold chain.
I think that's my next Halloween costume.
Thanks,
Chris. Yeah, that's my next Halloween costume, definitely. I need to, but I want to do it properly, you know.
Oh my goodness, that's going to be awesome.
That's it. Have a bit of bloody fun, you know. There's a lot of people.
Hell yeah! I come dressed as a vampire a couple of times now. Yeah, you come on and have fun, guys.
Yeah, I see it. X is the worst platform for it.
I don't use it. Never have.
Well, I just, because of this, it's on, you know.
Yes, that makes sense.
All you see, and because of the algorithm feeds you and the authors, every freaking post is whine, cry, whine, cry. Like, fuck off, you just sucking the morale out of the air, and people will think that's what authors are like.
Yes, I know. It's toxic. It's not even true. It's not even true. You know?
And what they're trying to do is buy my stuff, feel sorry for me. Nobody's bought my book in a week. Nah. And you're like, you're the last person I'm going to buy from.
Exactly.
You know, if that's the way you're getting on, like a petulant child, and nobody's picked me up, I've and that word querying now has become a thing. Well, I think they're looking for publishers or what, always querying, or you know, it's just become a toxic word to me, because I associate the word querying now with whiny bastard.
Yeah, But that's right.
Because that's all I say. Word association. Oh, somebody puts queer in, they're a whiny bastard because all they're doing is crying and getting on, and
Yeah.
they're not finding a solution. They want it all
No,
handed
they're
to them,
not.
silver spoon in their mouth.
Yes.
Those people I don't want on the show. Those people I don't want involved. Those
No.
people can fuck off because I don't need that
Yeah.
negative energy.
No, that's right.
I like the fact that, more importantly, when I can sit back, especially when we've got panels or the celebration streams, as few people on, and I can actually sit back and everyone else bounces between each other and friendships get formed and people talk. And to me, that actually is worth more than 1,000 book sales. Is all of a sudden people are like, it's not just focusing on me, if that makes sense, but oh, we're in this space, we're having a chat. Oh, you're cool, I like you. You're cool, I like you, and the conversation starts, and it just, it just goes off everywhere. If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, no, I love being on your panels. They're fun. They're so much fun. Everyone's got something different to bring to the table, and I think that's fantastic. Yeah, not that you have many of them, but when you do,
because I want the conversations to be meaningful.
That's right. So you don't.
I'm not about shock jock, and I'm not about clickbait.
No.
I don't want that.
That's what I mean. It's good.
If I want to have a conversation, I want it to mean something.
Yeah.
It's the same as if I'm going to write a story. I want it to mean something. I don't want to just be pumping stuff out like a day job.
No.
That makes sense, because that's not you can write quickly, you can put stuff out there, but I have to have emotional investment. It's the same as putting these out. Yeah, I could use AI tools. I could, just take everything and anything, make them as generic as possible to sell. Well, for a start, don't do horror. If you want to be like best-selling author, don't do horror, because that's freaking hard. It's the worst genre to get out there. People just have such negative stereotype of which we have talked about. That's one thing I'm passionate about, is challenging that stereotype.
Yeah, me too.
But even the celebration streams, that's something like these. It mightn't seem like, oh, what are you doing that for? It's because we've done something, we've put something together, it's out.
Exactly.
I want to enjoy the moment. There's so many people. I'm not doing this.
Yep. And people don't get a chance to do this. And the fact that you do this for the authors it's incredible, because not many other people do this. So nobody does it the way you do it. That's for sure. You've got lots of things that you do that make people feel really comfortable. And I don't think an author would get off from your podcast going, oh no, that was shit. I think everyone gets off excited and hyped up, and it's really good, because because you don't just stick to a script either. You do talk about other things that make us think as well, like off the cuff, which is good, because that's when you get a raw and honest response, I guess.
But is that not the way a conversation goes when you're talking to somebody?
Yes. It should be. That's right.
You're down the coffee shop with a bar, whatever your thing is, you're like, blah, 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 blah. Both this random thought comes in, and then this conversation starts to come out of nowhere, and it was just fun. That's right. That's all here.
That's how people used to talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how people used to talk.
Bring back conversation.
Yeah, bring back the conversations.
I think when I hear from people that I might not have spoken to in a year, or a year and a half, or 2 years, and they'll just pop back up and like, oh, hi, Colin, good to talk to you again. And it's like, I'm used to that anyway, because that's sort of a friend base. I can not talk to somebody for 2 years, and we'll go out for a pint next week, and that's it.
Yeah.
We'll just pick up from where we left off. I think that's just the way I've been. So I don't see somebody you don't have to message me every week, and maybe that's I don't message people. I'm not a chatter on text.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that those in the circle, don't know what I'm up to, and vice versa. But the fact that people come back, multiple times, and it might be a year and a half or 6 months or a couple of weeks, but that's it. Somebody will come back and say, "Oh, obviously felt comfortable enough."
Yeah,
that's always the proof of the pudding, isn't it? You wouldn't go back somewhere you were uncomfortable.
No, exactly. Yeah, I sent one of my friends over to you, and now look, you did Silent Hill. That was awesome.
Oh, we're doing the sequel, which I don't remember the sequel. I need to watch it again. We're doing it Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah, Matthew and I were doing it. We're doing the Revelations,
But
which is a
that's
weird
you.
sequel.
Is that? I see. I haven't. Yeah. I'm so looking forward to watching them again. Honestly, after watching your review, but see, that's you putting yourself out there as well, and you trusted somebody, and it worked out. It worked out great because Matt's a great guy. So
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, isn't it? He went on for the interview. We're talking. We're doing it again.
yeah.
That's a real friendship being built. In real time, and
Yes.
people are watching it.
Yes.
From
Exactly.
strangers never meeting before, and I hate text because you never get the vibe of someone.
No, there's no
over
emotions.
text. Somebody sends a text message or an email, you never get what they're about. You have to speak to them.
Yep, you do.
That's the only way you get to know someone, and that's why I like doing this live as well, because it's real time conversation. People throw in the chat that could turn the conversation completely on its head, as in go somewhere else that weren't expecting. But that's
you
can't fake that. You can't manufacture that.
No.
And that's a relationship I want to build with any authors that come on board and people who want to submit short stories. I just don't want to be a faceless entity.
Yes, no.
HORRORific publishing is something different.
Yes, that's right. It is. It's brilliant. And I'm so proud that and happy that you chose my book to be your first debut book.
It couldn't have been anyone else, Del. You've been we've been working together for like about 3 years now, and not just off and on, like intensely.
Yes, I know.
I think it had to be you. If anyone's going to come on board first, it had to be you. It wouldn't have been right otherwise.
Oh,
I don't want to get all mushy and stuff, but I think it just had to. It just felt right. If anyone's going to get, and of course, that's another conversation we had as well. What happens if you want to move on or other opportunities? That was a conversation we had to have, because I'm not like that crap either. I don't want to stifle people.
Yeah.
And it sounded like a horrible conversation, but at the same time, I think it was an important one. What happens if you want to move on? How do we make that work, that it doesn't lead into a fallout?
Yeah, exactly. Those are really important conversations that need to be had when it comes to collaborations and all that sort of stuff, and copyright, and and like I said to you, I'm in no position at the moment to do anything else but do this. I don't want to be picked up by Penguin Random House for some stupid reason or whatever, but you've given the opportunity
down the road.
Exactly. So you had that conversation with me just in case, and you never know. Like I said, I could be sitting here saying, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, but then an opportunity comes up, and then it's like, oh shit, we did
to turn down.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all because we didn't have that conversation, but we did. So now we've sorted that out. There's that opportunity there. So you cared about it enough to actually bring that up with me, whereas other publishers don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about that sort of thing, So that's a respect thing you have.
I don't want.
And we have respect for you too.
I don't want that sort of environment.
You haven't created that environment, so that's why it's working out the way it is with you, because you haven't created a toxic environment. You don't put people down. Even you and I could have fallen out over the review of Undying Love, but hey, you made valid points that other people didn't even mention. So
that was I told you I was nervous about that.
Yeah,
because
you didn't need to
that's
be,
what
but
friendships is. That's not any relationship,
yes.
Business relationship, friendships, otherwise, it's honesty.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean nasty. There's a difference.
Big difference. Yeah.
And that was even before I did the review. I'm like, are you sure you know what I'm like, and I will not Because if I give a
Yes.
fake review, it would be so obvious.
Oh,
And it
yeah,
would probably be worse, I
absolutely.
think,
Yeah.
than being honest. Yeah, at issues.
Yep.
But I was able to refer to the short story. I was able to
Yeah.
refer to the narrated fiction. And yeah, Clayton still has Monica on the show. So
He does. He does. I've been trying.
He doesn't know how to send emails.
Well, it's really hard to send you emails for some reason. I've got two different things for you. I've got
one
your
email address.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've got two email addresses for you. One's under your name, and it's like, I'm sure I don't use that one, but I did. I sent you something, and you're like, no, I didn't get it. It's like, oh, okay, so that's the email address that's not working. So I'll get rid of that one. But no. He's looking forward to coming on your show. So I've actually told him I was going to ask you today what was going to happen with that.
I just need an email so I can set it up. And the reason I ask people to email me and not do it over social media is because I could set up the calendar invite, because I've had that happen to me where somebody's made arrangements via social media, DMs, and because there wasn't a calendar invite, they didn't get the reminder, and then it's like, are you coming on? And it's just to avoid that. It's an admin thing.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So what I'll get in contact with him anyway, and I'll tell him to email you because because he's actually really wants to come on. He's amping for it, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm sorry, I've just been wrapped up in this and wrapped up in that. And
just an email would just let me know. Then
exactly.
Get it organized.
Yeah, Clayton, bloody hell. You know how to email, don't you? Everything we do is through Messenger. Yeah, that can be a failed venture in itself, using Messenger for everything. Because if you have to keep scrolling up to get back to the other thing, and sometimes you can't get up to the
That's
top.
Why you need the separation of, there's the chat stuff, but when it comes to, right, we're putting something down, boom, that's where you go formal with the emails. That's all the crap in the background. So yeah, that's why I was insisting as well. Like we'll talk about stuff over Messenger, DM, but when it comes to actual formalizing, no, it has to be the docs, because there's direct input. It has to be email when it comes to certain things, because that's a
paper trail. Yep, all that sort of stuff. Yep,
it's easier to keep track of. It's just
a business. Yeah, that's right. What we're doing is a collaborated business type of agreement. So yeah, that's right. So yeah. So what do you reckon? Are you going to do any other anthologies? Like anyone else going to approach you if they approach you yet?
A couple of things in the background.
I know you've got some things in the background. Okay,
I don't want to say anything until we're there.
Yeah,
because that's the test of death. If you announce too soon, that's that's life just jumps in and goes, "Ha! I'm gonna mess with you."
Aha! Murphy's Law. That's right.
There's a thing 90% done.
Yay.
At the moment. 90% sitting, just need a couple of things.
Wow.
Will be out. Volume 3 will be out in the next 3 weeks.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that.
Believe it or not, because next week's the closing deadline, and you know me, once I have it, I'm starting this week.
You're bang. Mm.
So I start reading through the stories I have. I'm not making the final decision till the closing date. And I've told people that because I didn't want to do it too early. I want to, have a plan. So this week is when I start reading through everything. Then the closing date, then the final decisions. Once people know they're in or they're out, agreements come back, it's go time. So if it's like the pace of the other books, that'll be 3 weeks' time. Volume 3 will be out.
Wow.
And as you know, Volume 4 is already waiting.
Yes.
Cover's done and the theme and all that stuff's, but with the other things happening, I don't want to put that out straight away. I'm holding back on Volume 4 because of these conversations and work that's going on.
Yes, definitely.
My own anthology has kind of got shoved to the background at the moment.
No! You'll have to find some time to get that done.
That's about 30% done.
Wow. Okay.
What I've been working on. Yeah.
Wow, busy, eh?
It never. And then plus, this thing's getting busier as well.
Yes, I know.
That's the other spinning plate. Like, it's one thing being a writer, but flipping when you run a podcast, that's hardcore. This is a hardcore podcast.
Oh yeah.
This is not one video out a week. This is 3 live streams a week. Podcast plus videos plus
videos,
I've also
reviews.
2 narrative fiction pieces I've to get done. Sorry,
Oh
wrong.
my goodness.
3 because I'm doing one differently. I'm waiting for music because somebody's going to compose the music for it.
Wow.
So that's already narrated, recorded, edited. I'm waiting for the music to go to the top, and then I need to decide what sound effects, and then that one is getting ready. So that's other stuff I'm doing in the background.
Wow. I don't know. It's a full-time job. What you do. Yeah.
Part-time money.
Yeah. Well, I know I couldn't do it. So you're just
don't ever say that because I'll just challenge you and get you to do stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know I hate that. Don't ever say that.
God.
I can't. People say I can't, or no.
I've got people. I've
your
got people.
Podcast is.
I
You've
know.
built up your own audience with the shorts. You've actually went your own path with it and made it your own thing. The writing tips and your conversations you're having.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're building that up, and now with this, and then obviously we'll have to talk about volume 2 because we've discussed that there's 3 volumes of this.
Yes.
From the stuff that's there. So
yep.
obviously at some stage soon we'll start looking at Stories of the Macabre Volume 2, which could be out sooner than you think.
Could be. It could be. Wow.
Gorilla's biography still cracking on because that's still going on in the background. So that's something
it is.
We'll get to a point where it comes across my desk.
We'll have to start working on it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And that's a big project.
Yeah, so
lots of information.
That's cracking on. So not busy at all. Nothing going on.
Yeah, no, not busy. No. I don't know. Is there 2 of you?
I wish sometimes.
No.
I need somebody that likes social media. I hate social media. I hate the going out and posting and doing all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
I'm just not comfortable with that.
What do you need a hand with?
It's the marketing language and doing getting out and reaching people and stuff. But you do great. You post a lot of my videos and stuff. Even
I try.
You do. You put it out there, and it's fantastic. It's just I struggle with that side of things because I don't have time. I'm not a forum person.
Yeah, okay.
A forum person, somebody sits in chat boards or in groups all the time. It would be second nature. But that's not me. I'm working on tons of stuff.
Yes. Oh well, you share them to my group and I reshare them, which is good.
Thanks, Flea. That's one thing I try not to do as well is get boxed in with just one genre. And obviously,
you don't.
With horror anime, and well, every segment's got a theme, and with that, I think we've covered most of the horror genre. Yes,
well, you had classics. You had classics going there. We're doing Australasian horror. You're doing stuff with Steve. Oh my goodness, stuff with Chris. Wow.
That's all the horror comedy.
Plus reviews now with
the slashers.
Yes.
Flea and I do the horror anime.
Yep.
Maybe Matt and I might start the video game adaptations. I think there's something there with a theme.
Yes.
Or it may not. It could be a thing.
Yes.
Wednesday we'll see how this depends how bad this movie is. I remember because I think the sequel isn't tied to the first movie. It's just one of them. Why did you make this?
Oh right, like the third Halloween that we went through.
I've never actually reviewed games. There's something.
Really?
No, do you know what I mean?
No, you just play them.
Just play them, and
Yeah.
I've done the thing now where I take the clips rather than play live and everything being choppy and stuff with the connection goes down. Is I just play for a bit and clip it all together when I get finished and throw it out there as a winner. So that's.
Oh, you did do. I mean, you did talk about the Silent Hill game, which freaked the shit out of me on PlayStation 3. Oh my god! So you know,
even the PlayStation 1 version, I found that on Steam and flip take. That's still creepy. Obviously, covered the Resident Evil ones. I've got up the Nemesis.
Exactly. Oh my gosh! Wow.
But I haven't actually sat down and had horror game conversations. I don't know if that's maybe. Like I said, there's always that's a problem. It's a can of worms. You open the can of worms. There's always something else. Oh, and that's what I said as well. The door is always open.
Yes, that's right.
Because that's while I don't want to like hundreds and hundreds of people, because it's just be unmanageable. The door is always open to talk about something else. It could be for a short time or a long time. It's this thing is ongoing. It's not like 1 year and that's it. You know what I mean? It's an ongoing thing.
No. And it's fluid too. You just go with whatever you want to do, and that's perfect, and people fit around it, and exactly.
Yeah. So, and then I want to do that with the publishing as well. That's the big thing with this is that each of the anthologies has its own theme. It's covering all areas of horror, so it's not just sticking to the one. I'm not just looking for what's popular and like ramming up.
No, you're not. No.
That's one thing I gave indie publishing a bad name. Vampires are cool this month.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll never be in the zeitgeist because I'm just, like I said, already bloody first 10. That's the order I'm going to do them in.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to be popular in 3 months' time. Might not. But
things change. Yeah, that's right.
Thing is, once something's created that's out there, people can always pick it up. So.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
See what happens.
Yeah.
So there you go. This was this is great. I'm just glad. I'm glad we're here. Honestly, and it's a different size. But like we went for the 6x9. Remember, I sent you the photograph of the two beside each other.
Yes, I know.
Even things like that. To go, what size of book will we make it?
Yep. Even the color of the book. I mean, I would never have picked a black and white.
Well, it's black and grey. It's
black and grey and white. And exactly. It's amazing. Like, I've actually seen people who have done that on other books that are coming up, and I'm like, I hope you didn't copy us because it looks really great. I mean, seriously, it's amazing. So, and it's really
something we'll work together on, and we'll talk about it and bring this shading up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you do when you're in a collaboration. So, thank you 100,000 times. Thank you so much.
So, thank you, Dale, as always, for your support.
You trusted me and you did it, and we'll see how we go.
People, you just have to buy it.
Buy it.
Links are in the description. Go to Amazon, Lulu, Ingram Spark, bookstores. Go put a request in at the bookstore. It's available.
Yes.
Bookstore can get it in. That's all the other stuff we've done.
That's my mission for this week.
Go to your local library. I'm
going to do that.
I know times are hard at the moment. So you can actually go to your local library and request it.
Yep.
To borrow.
You can.
So that's all set up. They'll might take a minute. They'll get the first couple of copies in, but options are. So, yep.
Yay! Brilliant.
And looking forward to. We're on next week. We're the Deadlands.
The Dead Room. Or is it the Dead Room? Dead Room?
Is it not the Deadlands? Maury tribe?
No, it's the Dead Room, I think.
The Dead Room.
I don't. Well,
anyway,
we're right.
We've got a movie we need to watch for next week.
We've got it.
And we'll be
we've got one.
And you have a couple of interviews coming up, not just the radio station, isn't that right?
Yes, Well, I've got another podcast today in a couple of hours, but he hasn't got back to me, so I'm not too sure about that. But sometimes Americans like to take their time and they send it to me like 5 minutes before we're supposed to go live. So I've got that, and then I've got my radio interview coming up, and then I've got another couple of podcasts.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Really stoked for you.
Yeah. Thank you. But
Well,
thank you for having the book ready for that. That's just phenomenal. So everybody in Wellington will know now. So that'll be yay. Yeah.
there you go, Del. We will be back soon. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. Pick up the book. It's there. Go get it wherever you want to. It's available. And
Yes.
yeah, the next time, keep up the other channel. Do the everything things. And remember to keep it creepy. Keep it horrific.